Hey guys, we just watched Loki episode 3, Lamentis, and we're about to go over it right now. So yeah, we just watched episode 3 of Loki, Lamentis, and right off the bat, I will say this. I've said I feel like the show is kind of like Marvel's Doctor Who, and this episode is pretty much emblematic of that. If I were to call this episode anything, would be a variation of one of the Two Doctors episode, but evil, because this episode kind of picks up right where this left off. We find out that Sylvie, the variant Loki, her power is enchantment. So we're going with the MCU Enchantress 2 origin. They're not going to call her Enchantress, they're just going to call her Sylvie. But yeah, this is the Loki Enchantress. And she's working on Hunter C20, Sasha Lane, to try to find out where the Timekeepers live. So she's trying to get to the TVA authority. And, it picks up, she gets there after getting info from her mind, because we're going to find out how enchantment works in this episode. And Loki follows her, and she's never been to the TVA because she doesn't realize her powers don't work there. And there's a little bit of a fight off. Loki gets there, and he's, trying to be like, I wanted to work with you. And then she's having none of that shit. And he ends up, the judge shows up. Sylvie's like, I'm gonna kill Loki if you don't let me go, and she's like, go for it. And that's when Loki turns on, the temp pad and sends them to Lamentis 1, which Sylvie says is the worst apocalypse of everything on here. And at first I thought it was Vormir, because it does look a lot like Vormir, but this is the unlikely team up. This is the Hobbs and Shaw of Loki, since I've had Fast and Furious on my brain all day. And so what happens is, there's a little bit more of a standoff, and the temp pad is out of juice, and Loki keeps trying to find common ground with Sylvie, who just kind of wants to fight her way out of everything. And we find out her plan to get at the Timekeepers has been years in the making. And while she may not know some things about the Timekeepers, she knows more about them than Loki variant does, as we find out in the course of this episode. Loki tries his signature shape-shifting to try to get to try it on a local to try to get info. It doesn't work, and right after Sylvie's blasted, but they find out there's an arc to try to get them off this world. And their plan is to kind of hijack the arc to charge up the temp pad. So they get on a train full of rich people. Loki's trying to find common ground with Sylvie. They have some conversation going on here where they talk about love, and we get more confirmation that Loki's bi, yay Pride Month. But also that he really loved his mom, and he finds out that, basically this is like those episodes of Sliders back in the day where Quinn's double was a chick, kind of. Because Loki's trying to find out, hey, wait, you knew my actual mother, Laufey's wife, but she doesn't really remember her. So it's kind of, this is one of those funny things where we're not going by the origin that Loki gave Sylvie her powers, more like Loki had a daughter instead of a son, which is cool. I find that an interesting twist on the scenario. So they have some conversations about love, and they finally just decide, hey, we're both really good at magic in our own way. Let's just rest. And Loki's going to rest in his own way after drinking champagne. After a while, Sylvie wakes up, and Loki is full-on super drunk, singing, drinking songs in Asgardian, smashing his glasses, asking for more, channeling Chris Hemsworth from the original Thor, like, yeah, have another. But what happens is Sylvie wakes up, she's stone cold sober, and realizes, hey, these Lamentitians clearly realize there's something up with Loki, because he's doing like magic and he's in his variant outfit, and they try to have some of their way with them. And there's a big fight. It's a really good fight sequence where Loki ends up throwing one of the guards off the train, but then the rest of the guards eventually team up and toss him. And then Sylvie jumps right in after him, and she asks for the temp pad, but we find out, alas, the temp pad has been destroyed. As an aside, I don't think for a minute this temp pad is actually broken. I'm pretty sure that's actually magic, but I'll get into that later. So they decide, well, fuck, we're fucked. But then what ends up happening is, well, you know, this planet was destroyed. Yeah, because the Ark was destroyed. Yeah, well, Loki says, well, that Ark wasn't destroyed if we were on it, so we can alter history if we can just get on the Ark. And so they try to make their way to the Ark, which looks really cool. This is, out of all the Marvel shows, I feel like this one we're seeing most of the budget on screen, more so than WandaVision and even Falcon and Winter Soldier, because this looks just like Thor Ragnarok. I mean, the production values are high. So they're trying to fight their way onto the Ark, and again, more cool fight scenes, explosions and everything. Right when they're about to get on the Ark, fucking the moon on Lamentis cracks in half and a meteor shoots and destroys the Ark. And Sylvie's like, fuck it, I'm done, walks off, and Loki's just like, resign. And then we get the new end credits, which includes Sylvie and everything, with like an old country song about love. Here's a few thoughts I have right off the bat. One, I don't think the temp pad is destroyed. Not even for a second. Clearly, we've seen this enough from Loki in the past. He's trying to just get info from Sylvie, find out what her plan is. I mean, while walking to the Ark, he finds out how enchantment works, which he didn't know how to do, but now he knows how it works. And she doesn't know how to do magic. She taught herself how to do it. The other huge reveal in this episode is when she's explaining to Loki how she did the enchantment. She tells us that she had to go into Hunter C20's mind hundreds of years back to before she used to work at the TVA, which, if we saw the induction video Loki saw, all the workers at the TVA claimed to have been created by the Timekeepers. So now we have, the Timekeepers are lying. Everyone who works at the TVA is actually a time variant themselves, which leads some credence to why Owen Wilson is on this show, and the fact that he isn't in this episode is kind of starting to further tick the fact that, like, he seemed really interested in getting Loki in the TVA. I was thinking at first, you know, maybe Mobius is really another Loki variant, and now it makes me wonder, maybe Owen Wilson is Kang the Conqueror. It's really possible right now, because we know he wasn't created by the TVA or the Timekeepers. You know, I mean, I always thought Owen Wilson is really high profile casting for like a show like this, a show which, by the way, he has barely been in, and we're halfway through. So I wouldn't be shocked if we end up having a scenario where, you know, this is the story of how the Judge and Kang hook up, which they hook up in the comics. So, hey, it could happen. But, yeah, this kind of has changed our understanding of what this show is in a really fundamental way, because clearly Sylvie knows the Timekeepers are full of shit. Loki hasn't until now. So, and this episode ends on that big cliffhanger, so hopefully we get some resolution of that, but I think we're going to find out at some point that these TVA employees are going to find out who they really are, and I would not be shocked if Owen Wilson, or even, it could even be a B-15, our other guard, is actually Kang the Conqueror. Could be. I'm just saying, those are both good casting calls, so we're going to find out. I'm pretty sure one of them is important, and we still haven't found out what Sylvie's plan is, because her plan was to kill the Timekeepers, who are clearly not on the up and up, and it starts to make me wonder if this whole TVA organization is even on the up and up, or just like some kind of, you know, deviant witch hunt or something. It could be, you know. I mean, this organization is like basically the vanguard of Kang the Conqueror, and they're just trying to create a timeline where he can take over, which also seems very likely to me. Those are my theories. Those are my thoughts right now. This is a really good episode, and yeah, we're gonna see what happens. But thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll be back next week with more thoughts. Maybe we'll have some sum up videos this week. But subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can get notified when we have new videos up, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.